Well, it's time for another gardening week, and today I'm going to be harvesting the yacon. It's a little bit early, but to be honest, one of the things I don't like is harvesting the yacon when the ground is really cold and really wet. Right now it's just light moist and they're in flower, which indicates that the tubers are ready. They will still grow beyond now, but we'll see when I've harvested them whether I'm really worried about them growing a bit more. I suspect the harvest will be fine, and I'll harvest more than enough to get me through the winter months. And then I've got, I think, 4 tubs still left in the kitchen garden. And again, you know, that each tub is giving me enough harvest for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm just not really worried about quantity. I'm more worried about myself and wanting to do jobs when it's fun rather than when it's grim. So I chop them off 2 or 3 inches, well maybe 6 inches above the ground level, so I can get hold of them and pull them out. I'll show you how I harvest them anyway once I get all this foliage down. Right, well that took a long time. As I say, it wouldn't have been, this whole thing wouldn't be a very nice job in the middle of winter, but a lot of people do leave their yacon in until after the first frost or after the first hard frost. And as I say, that's what I've done in the past as well. I've got 5 plants in here. One was just kind of fitted in just right at the end there, so really I've got 4 plants, a reasonable spacing. I normally like to give them about just under 1 metre squared for each plant, but this year, as I say, I've got 5 plants in 3 metres squared, so we'll see what the impact of that is on the harvest. So when you're harvesting them, you really do need to be super careful, because they're very easy to damage. I have actually just done a whole video all about the yacon and updated my growing guide as well, and I'll include the results of this growing trial with this slightly increased density in the ebook as well. So this is how I tend to harvest them. So ideally you would dig them all up by hand so as not to damage anything. But I think what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to try sort of go right a long way away from them, put the fork in really deep, and just try and loosen them a little bit. I think that will help. So there's the first one, that first little one that didn't really have much space. That's still a tiny little harvest off that, but you know, obviously the harvest that I'm getting from containers is way more than that, so that's not a good start, but maybe there's more in there. We'll see in a minute. So in fact I'll see now. There isn't, no. So that's good in a way. I can go in from this side now. Once you've kind of got them loosened, you can start to put some pressure on the stems and try and, oh, there we go, it's starting to come out. Try and pull them out. And of course this is also way easier to do when the ground is not frozen. There we go, it's coming out. And this is what I wanted to see. A nice harvest, not too many massive ones. I don't really like too many massive ones because they're just really hard to get through. broken one off. I hate it when I break them off because they won't keep. So I don't mind a couple of them, but I want the vast majority to be intact. Once they've been snapped in half, they'll probably only last, 1 or 2 weeks. I've got that one with a fork. Right, let's move down a bit. You see again, I've cracked 2 here. So frustrating. So this is kind of what I was hoping for when I decided to take this risk. They're looking really lovely. I don't want too many tubers of this size, to be fair. I'm hoping for mostly smaller ones, but obviously these will keep pretty well. And I've managed to get a decent number of them intact. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased. And this is kind of an order of magnitude more pleasurable an activity than harvesting them in a month's time. Now, the other advantage is it's going to be way easier to get these cured. I'm going to put them into crates now in the polytunnel, and they're going to enjoy some moderately sunny weather to come. Sunny weather will sweeten them up. It will result in more of the indigestible fibres, prebiotic fibres, converting into sugar. Honestly, I don't mind a little bit of sugar. It's still not going to be a huge amount, less than in potatoes, for example. Probably similar sort of sugar levels, perhaps to carrots or something like that. And still loads of indigestible fibres for the gut, which makes them into the superfood that they are. So that is one, as I say, one of the benefits of harvesting them a little bit earlier. You get to take advantage of some of that warm, sunny weather. So I'm going to get on now, get these cleaned up, get them in crates, get them into the polytunnel. I'm not quite sure where yet. So I'd say I'm reasonably pleased with the size of this harvest. I normally want to get about 20 pounds per square metre, and I think I've got about 40 pounds from 3 square metres, which is a little bit less than I'm used to, but they have grown in light shade. And one of the plants, I packed the plants in, 5 plants rather than 3. So yeah, I mean, there's enough, basically, is what it comes down to. More than enough. I mean, there's no way I can get through all this. So these are all the pretty good ones. There's a few little breaks here, but I'm hoping these will heal. And these are the ones that I'll keep in the fridge after they've cured, and I'll cure them in here for 2 or 3 weeks. And these are the sort of eat now ones because they've got big cracks on them. So do watch the dedicated video if you want more details. And now I'm going to get them potted up. I've chosen 8 plants to pot up. I've got quite a few at home as well that I've potted up. They're all pretty good, decent amount of root on them, more than enough root there. So you could go way down below this level. On the odd one, I've left some little root, some storage tubers on there, just to provide a bit of extra energy to get them started. But yeah, they're all nice, and I've got 3 more there, so just using my homemade compost, I'm going to get on with those. So I've cut most of the stem off, so I'm going to leave maybe about 1 inch of the old stem above the top. I'm not really sure how much of the old stem to leave, but I think that's enough to prevent any damage to the actual roots and the new growing tips. And they're looking okay. And these need to get frost free now. And I'm going to keep those 4 to grow in big containers, I think, on the allotment. These are really giants. And I've left some of the storage tubers on again to give them a bit more energy to get growing quickly. So yeah, I'm quite excited about all this yacon. It's pretty good. Right, so that's all done. This is going to be 2 trees next year. 1 Concord pear tree, which I should probably going in there. 1 Williams tree, and Williams pear tree, and 1 apple tree, which is a graft from that one over there, which my friend Rob lets me harvest from. But you know, there's no guarantee that I'll carry on living, nor is there a guarantee that I'll have a friendly allotment holder neighbour in the future. This is all part of my long-term strategy to move this plot more towards perennials. So now I just wanted to show you a bit of progress. So some of you might remember that this was a beetroot bed. It was covered by a netted frame. The beetroot leaves are in a right old state, all badly eaten and all that. And so I chopped all the leaves off, put this cold frame top on, and a lot of you might have been wondering, what on earth's he done that for? Well, I've done it. I did it because I wanted to create a much nicer environment. It was for the beetroot to be stored in. Nice, slug-free, fairly, moist but not dry. And of course, all the leaves have regrown and looking really nice now. So I'll be able to take a nice little baby leaf harvest off this, not too many. The beetroot are all looking beautiful. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that experiment so far. There's a couple of them that I've just pulled out, little tiny beetroot like this one, which have got a bit of rust on the leaves. Obviously, I don't want that rust to spread, but I think that's just because the plant was very weak and it couldn't really survive having its top cut off. All the others look fine. You can see that there. Well, that wasn't much of a gardening week. And this isn't much of a harvest. It's kind of dominated by things that we're running out of. So, it's just that time of year. Everything's really slowing down. And the fact we haven't had any sun for 2 or 3 weeks isn't helping. So, it still looks quite nice at the moment because of all those apples. But anyway, potatoes, we've got loads of those. Onions, we've got loads of those. We've just started on the big beetroot bed. That'll last us hopefully now until well into the end of January, I should think. Just a few carrots for the salads there. They're not that great actually, these salads. There's a few bits of damage on them, but these are a mokum, which are my favourite carrot of the year. You can see little bits of damage. They're just so sweet, I don't want to throw them out even though they're a bit damaged. Just started picking a few bushels. I don't need very many bushels because I'm away for most of next week. Not much nicer carrots from the main carrot beds. And, well, I think we've got one more pick. Well, not pick. We've got one more tub of cauliflower in the fridge for next week. And then that's it until, well, a long time, like the end of April or something. Yacon, I've just got the ones that are broken. Just trying to get through those. And all these are for the salads, actually. So I think spinach, baby beet leaves, yeah, those 4, I think, for the salads. And then these are the spinach for cooking. Leeks, just going through the bashed up leeks. I often have bashed up leeks at this time of year because, into planting and planting close to the squash and things like that, they get a bit overpowered, but got plenty of really good leeks to come. This is disappointing. So these are shallots. The shallots are kind of okay, most of them, not that one. But they've all started to sprout because it's been so warm. so we haven't had much sun, but it's been, you know, like 10, 15 degrees in the store. Well, everywhere basically. You can't, unless I had them in the fridge. I couldn't get them any colder. So anyway, we're just scrapping all those or using them this week, depending on how good they are when I squeeze them. All the rest are fine. So as I say, you know, these onions here, these are fine, but for some reason those schlots just went a bit crazy. This is, well, it's not all the apples that we've got left. We've still got 2 trees to pick, but the birds are moving in now in force, and so, you know, they really are taking a lot of apples. So I've picked all those. Some of those will store for a while. Some of them I think I'll probably end up dehydrating. We've got lots of cabbages. I like to break them up like this because a lot of people can't get through a whole cabbage in a week. In fact, we often can't because, you know, we'll have kale and things like that, which are calabrese leaves, Brussels sprouts, red cabbage, cauliflower. You know, there's a lot of different things that go into a normal meal, so we don't need huge quantities of anything. These are the salad onions. I think this is the last of those kind of slightly immature squash. They won't keep forever, so I want to get through those. Still got plenty of tomatoes. That's probably the last of the outdoor. Peppers, a little bit of damage on a couple of them, but, you know, it's still edible. We don't like to throw anything away. Lots of chard. Just starting to pick the chard now as volume of other things go down a bit. We've been saving it really for winter. And the salad mixes. So I'll do what I always do and just make up those salad mixes so you can see the final result. But I mean, yeah, it's always a bit of a shock, I always think, to the system when you know, growth just starts to slow to a crawl. And obviously it's going to get a lot worse from now. So next week actually is going to be quite sunny, so we might see a little bit of an uptick in growth of spinach and things like that. But yeah, by the end of November, it's really slowing down, and then it's basically stopped pretty much by the time we get to Christmas. So we cannot feed quite as many people. We just drop down to just our local family, no friends, no neighbours. Just ourselves, and that we just about muddle through. Anyway, my name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.